Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is expelling the top U.S. diplomat and his deputy for allegedly conspiring against his government. The White House has called Maduro's re-election a sham. President Trump has signed an executive order to prevent Maduro from selling Venezuelan assets to earn money. Venezuela has been suffering from severe inflation and food shortages, and thousands of Venezuelans have fled to the nation's neighboring Colombia and Brazil. They're escaping the harsh conditions. Joining me now is Geoff Ramsey, the Assistant Director for Venezuela at the Washington Office on Latin America. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So the top U.S. diplomat is out. 14 countries yesterday said that they are not recognizing this election. They're asking international groups not to give credit to Maduro. How is all of this going to help those people who are starving to death?
Well, it's unclear. I think the international community is trying to exercise some kind of coordinated pressure on the governments to accept offers of international humanitarian aid and to try to open up some kind of political solution to the crisis.
So if they're offering humanitarian aid, is Maduro going to let that aid get in?
Well, unfortunately, the government has refused to accept any offers of international aid. There are some organizations working on the ground, actually many affiliated with the Catholic Church, Caritas is one, that are addressing things like access to medications and food. But so far, the government has been unwilling to accept offers of mass aid.
So how likely is it then that the U.S. is going to impose sanctions?
Well, we've seen the U.S. already impose sanctions that make it much more difficult for the government to get access to finance, that complicate its access to credit, that kind of thing. My concern is that the United States is going to impose sanctions against the oil sector, which, although the country is in a deep economic crisis, the oil industry is essentially the only thing that's more or less functioning and keeping the economy relatively going. I think that sanctions against the oil industry are likely to cause the humanitarian crisis to worsen, and I think it's going to lead to increasing human suffering.
You visited Venezuela recently. Tell us what you saw.
Well, yeah, I was in Venezuela for most of the month of April, and frankly, people are suffering. This is a country that's in a deep state of crisis. People are dying because they have they lack access to medications, and food is increasingly unaffordable or scarce. I mean, I talked to one woman who was telling me that her husband's state salary, working for the state oil company, no longer covers even a week of the medication that she needs for a certain thyroid condition. I mean, this is very much a humanitarian crisis.
Geoff Ramsey, thank you so much for joining us, the Washington Office on Latin America.
Thank you.